Okay.
Tell me your name
Lonnie Ramati,
and tell me what you do, Lonnie.
Executive VP, Millennium Business Affairs.
Okay, what does that mean?
Means I negotiate the contracts for the production, financing, and distribution of feature films for them.
Okay, and I just heard you spoke at IndieCon, and what advice would you offer filmmakers today making indie films?
Find an investor and give them whatever they need in order for you to get their money to help you fund your movie. That's the most important thing. It's very hard to package your movie because you don't have credibility as an indie filmmaker unless you have a very long, extensive track record. So my recommendation is find relationships of people that want to be investing in your project, that believe in you and are willing to put their money there.
And who are those people?
They're regular people with money that have money to spend, just like you and anyone else in the world. They've made their money in other businesses. They've always loved being in the film industry, and they could be investment bankers, or they could simply be people that own lots of bowling alleys. They could be people that own restaurants. They can be people in the real estate business that have cash available to invest right now, but don't want to put it in their core business because that business is not bringing the return on investment right now. They can be any number of people. They could be hedge funds. They could be individuals who just have daughters that want to be actresses or in the film industry. It could be any number of people, but they're out there and they're people with money, and it's your job as an independent producer to find them and get them to give you their money.
Do you see a trend in the changing the way that you finance a film these days compared to when you started in the business?
Well, it's a lot harder today. It's probably the hardest it's ever been in the history of the film industry because the low budget genre movies that used to sell very well in foreign and in video domestically are not selling as well these days. There was a glut on the market, and the current economics is such that people are not as free with their money as they used to be. Credit markets have tightened, which means the tightening of the credit market means, of course, that there's not as much money available to spend on lesser product. So you have to be very careful about the kind of film that you want to make and the budget you want to make it for, because you're simply not going to be getting the kind of money you used to get. What's important today are tax credits and tax subsidies in various states in the United States. Foreign pre-sales are important. Having a good script that an investor will be interested in, or that anyone will be interested in, and getting distribution contracts that allow you to get your film released.
Do you see the internet playing a role in getting money for films?
I do. I think the future of the internet is very strong. And in particular, I think the internet in combination with mobile phones is important. I look forward to the day where part of a print and advertising campaign is not just television or even cable, but is dedicated toward mobile phone users and the demographics that one would need for the market that you wish to come to your particular film being serviced through mobile phone research and mobile phone advertising.
And you just finished a film called Expendables. Tell me about that.
It's in theaters right now. The financiers are Avi Lerner, Trevor Short, and Danny Dimborg, partners in Millennium Films. It's the biggest kick-ass action movie you'll ever see in your life, with all the big stars of the 80s and 90s in it, including Stallone, Jason Statham, Jet Li, Mickey Rourke is in it, Dolph Lundgren's in it. We have Randy Couture, we have Stone Cold Steve Austin, we have Terry Crews, who's fantastic in it, and David Zayas. So there's a lot of great talent in that movie. Stallone wrote it, he directed it. I wrote it with David Callahan and directed it, and it's an outstanding action movie that services all the people that have been yearning to see a good hardcore action movie these days. It's in theaters now, and it's doing very well. And I think it's showing that there's been a gap for this kind of movie, and people are coming back to it very quickly.
And IndieCon is trying to help young filmmakers make films on a tight budget, as you know. What do you think about a group like IndieCon that's doing this?
Well, you can't have an independent film industry without IndieCon. IndieCon is a vehicle for young, ambitious filmmakers to be seen and heard where they would have no vehicle. I think the internet is important, but I think what's always more important is people teaming up with each other and pooling their resources as they do in IndieCon and learning more than they can just learn from individual resources and research. And IndieCon gives them the opportunity to network with people that might help their careers and also give them the information they can't find by pure research on the internet.
I know what you do is such a big scale compared to indie filmmakers, but are there any things you could tell them that you do that might help them?
Well, I think there's some principles that would help them. I don't set myself up as anybody to be, followed or as an example for anyone. I'm really, most of the time my life has been one of service to people more than anything else. I am always in service to people. But what I can say is that the people that I work for who finance movies, they never give up and they don't let anything get them down. They persevere. They know how to close quickly. They don't get in the way of a closing, and they don't let personalities get in the way of a closing. They're very good with people. They're very good with closing deals, and they're very smart about the numbers so that they can come out a little bit ahead in the deal instead of behind. I think if you just have those principles plus never giving up and keeping faith in yourself, getting up every day, looking yourself in the mirror, knowing you're the only person that's going to encourage yourself and just keep encouraging yourself, those principles are more important than anything. Obviously, networking skills are important. IndieCon is one vehicle for networking, and that's important, but just not quitting is almost as important as well.
Okay, anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I just would hope that the people that come to these small communities stick together and support each other, because that would certainly be a very powerful thing in an industry where people often compete too much with each other and don't support each other. So if you band together as a unit and work together and cooperate with each other, that create a much more powerful force than you might imagine, no matter how small the film or how small the budget.
That's true. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.